Good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a productive Tuesday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition. The Minister of Infrastructure, Jimmy Gasore, has stated that the government of Rwanda has sustainable solutions to challenges related to electricity and roads that are still hindering citizens' development. Various institutions operating at the Rusumo border say there are aspects that need to be reviewed and improved so that users of this border can continue to be satisfied with the services provided. On the international scene, Afghan officials say a Pakistani airstrike on Kabul has killed and wounded at least 400 people, with many of them patients at a drug rehabilitation center. We are glad to have you joining us here on RTV News and coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. On the afternoon of today at Urugwiro Village, President Paul Kagame met with Global Citizen founder and CEO Hugh Evans ahead of the third Move Africa edition, headlined by Doja Cat later in the evening at the BK Arena. Their discussion highlighted the partnership's positive impact on Rwanda's creative economy and the wider work being done across key sectors, including health and education. The Minister of Infrastructure, Jimmy Gasore, has stated that the government of Rwanda has sustainable solutions to challenges related to electricity and roads that are still hindering citizens' development. He made these remarks before the Chamber of Deputies while providing oral explanations on issues identified during field visits conducted by members of parliament in various districts across the country at the end of last year. The main objective of the visits carried out by members of parliament in different parts of the country in late December 2025 was to assess land use and settlement planning. In the report submitted by the Chamber of Deputies to the Ministry of Infrastructure, many issues related to settlement planning were highlighted, particularly those concerning master plans. While presenting his oral explanations on the report from the parliamentary field visits, the Minister of Infrastructure, Dr. Jimmy Gasore, also addressed issues related to water. He further provided detailed explanations on the sustainable solutions the government has for challenges related to electricity and roads that had continued to slow down citizens' development. Following these explanations, the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Gertrude Kazargwa, stated that the Chamber of Deputies will follow up on the implementation of these government measures aimed at addressing the issues raised by citizens. The report was discussed by 27 members of parliament who raised a range of views and questions, highlighting to the minister the issues they observed that need to be corrected quickly before they lead to losses for the state across the country. Moving ahead, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources has said it continues to encourage farmers to adopt technology-driven agriculture in order to increase productivity. This was stated by the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Telesfo Ndabamenye, during discussions with members of Parliament from the Committee on Governance, Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment regarding findings from the 2024-2025 report of the Rwanda Governance Board and the Action Plan for 2025-2026. As the government of Rwanda continues efforts to boost agricultural and livestock production, on Tuesday, the minister told the parliamentary committee that they are exploring ways to address irrigation challenges and to enhance farmers' knowledge. Members of the Committee on Governance, Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment asked the minister what is being done to enable innovative youth to establish small agro-processing industries instead of exporting raw agricultural products that later return as expensive finished goods. The minister responded that discussions are underway with the Ministry of Trade and Industry to find ways to add value to agricultural products so they can generate more income. He also told members of parliament that under the National Strategy for Transformation, the target is to increase agricultural productivity by at least 50%, reduce post-harvest losses to below 5%, and boost investment in agriculture and livestock. Moving ahead, the plenary session of the Senate has committed to closely monitor and strengthen compliance and prevention of errors committed in public service, which sometimes result in poor service delivery or lead the government into unnecessary legal disputes. Regarding misconduct by public employees, it was noted that in the 2024-2025 period, the most common disciplinary action was permanent dismissal given to 96 employees, and the suspension from work for 1 month without pay was given to 58 employees, while suspension for 3 months without pay was given to 56 employees. These issues have led to government institutions being frequently taken to court by employees due to failure to comply with labor laws. Various institutions operating at the Rusumo border say there are aspects that need to be reviewed and improved so that users of this border can continue to be satisfied with services provided. Users of the Rusumo border say that the integration of services on both the Rwandan and Tanzanian sides, now delivered jointly, has simplified processes and made it easier for people crossing the border. During a meeting between a delegation of members of parliament from the East African Legislative Assembly and various institutions operating at the border, it was noted that certain operational aspects still need improvement to further enhance service delivery. The head of the ELA delegation that visited the Rusumo border, Francine Rutazana, said these issues will be submitted to the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of member states of the East African Community so that solutions can be found. The Rusumo border operates 24 hours a day with a capacity to handle between 400 and 600 trucks daily, as well as a flow of around 2,500 people. Moving ahead, on Tuesday, 489 trainees comprising senior officers, junior officers, and other ranks from the Rwanda Defense Force, Rwanda National Police, and Rwanda Correctional Service successfully completed 4.5 months of military career courses at the RDF Combat Training Center in Gabiro. The courses have equipped them to serve as professional company commanders, platoon commanders, company sergeant majors, and platoon sergeants. While presiding over the graduation ceremony, the Chief of Defense Staff General M.K. Mubarak congratulated the trainees for their dedication and achievement. He noted that the courses are essential in shaping professional military leaders. The CDS commended the discipline and commitment demonstrated throughout the training. He emphasized the relevance of the training in modern operations, highlighting that the experience gained is critical for today's complex security environment. He further stressed that training goes beyond theory, urging the graduates to apply what they have learned in their respective duties. The comprehensive training focused on enhancing military skills, tactical thinking, leadership, and management, marking a significant step in ongoing efforts to professionalize the force and prepare for current and future security challenges. Now, experts in the field related to science and technology say it is necessary to increase the number of women and girls in science on the African continent because their low representation slows down Africa's development. We have more coming from Enor Gladys.
Rita Inema Owizeye is one of the young women who developed an application that helps address mental health challenges using music and art. She says that girls working in this field often face various challenges.
Women in STEM is more of low self-esteem. Sometimes we feel like we cannot do it, and even the people around us think that I know it's very hard and you cannot make it and what. So the discouragement in the environment, especially due to the historical background, the cultural factors, many women are not yet open to STEM. But I can say that through these opportunities that have been presented to us, it is now time for us to open our minds and know that we can also do that. Would encourage the women who still fear going in STEM, maybe because they think it's for a certain category of people. Now it's open for anyone. Everyone can access technology and use it in a way that is beneficial to them. Based on where the world is leading, technology is the leading factor. So as women, as girls, it is an opportunity for us to grow in that sector in order to also catch up with where the world is going.
Organizations that promote the advancement of women in science indicate that women and girls involved in science in Africa make up less than 25%. However, they say this does not mean that they are not capable.
Surrounded by women in engineering, climate change, in the health sector, sustainable agriculture as well. So what shows you is that it's not a question of whether women have talent or if they are capable, but it's a question of equal opportunities. Is a STEM sector ready to take up women in this industry? So conferences such as the Women in STEM conference, it really empowers us. It shows us that we are not only capable, but that we can even do it better.
The Director General of the African Bureau in the World Intellectual Property Organization, who oversees 54 African countries, Loretta Asiedo, highlights that having a large number of women in science is very important.
It's an aspiration of the African Union that women and youth play a key role in the development of the continent, especially as it pertains to the 2063 agenda. So it is very important for our women to enhance their collaboration in STEM, because the future is innovation, the future is technology, the future is economics, the future is engineering, the future is math. And so women, being the backbone of the African economy, need to be empowered to participate more and more in STEM so that their innovations contribute to the development of our continent.
The acting chief licensing officer of the Rwanda Development Board, Richard Kayibanda, explains that measures have been put in place in Rwanda to increase the number of women and girls in the fields of science and technology.
Again, as the trend worldwide, but also across Africa, we still see a low number of women submitting applications to protect their innovation in terms of patents, utility models, and computer programs, where the average over the last 5 years is still below 7. But again, the number keeps increasing, though at a low pace, but with different initiatives such as this conference that is meant to raise their awareness about not only engaging in innovations, but also protecting those innovations. We hope and anticipate to see a number of applications from women increasing, because we do have women that are coming up with innovations.
The ambassador of Japan to Rwanda explained that much is expected from the African continent if the number of women in STEM increases.
Economic development, the strongest engine will be the startup forces. And all these are kind of new ideas, new innovations will help the society and will generate investment in and out of the country. And that is a kind of really a new field of economic development. And women's, they are more, say, realistic in their mind, practical in their activities, and stronger in their mindset.
Keiko Kurushima, who represented the Japan IP office that sponsored this conference and the STEM activities, explained the main reason they chose to support it.
I think it's important to support this initiative, Women in STEM conference, because women has a power to change their lives by contributing to the innovation and creation, and women have high potential power. On the contrary, some women is far from IP, but IP has a powerful tool to change their lives. So our mission is to bridge the gap between them.
The Rwanda Development Board shows that out of 430 projects registered in science and technology, those led by women account for less than 7% in Rwanda, while across the entire African continent, women in the field of science and technology are below 25%.
Thank you, Inara, for that report. The Ministry of Youth and Arts says that the program known as Aguka, which supports youth development projects, will help many young people move out of unemployment. This comes as the second phase of the program aimed at supporting youth was launched on Tuesday. The resident representative of UNDP in Rwanda stated that supporting young people is essential as they make up the largest share of the population in Africa.
Today's discussion is a particularly important moment for us. And this is because across Africa, the continent is experiencing the fastest youth population growth, which is over or about 532 million young people between the ages of 15 and 35. That is about half the population on the continent. And the choices we make today are very important in determining the factors whether we're going to see that huge bulge as an opportunity or as a threat on the continent. And I'm sure we want to see that as an opportunity for shared prosperity on the continent. But as I continue my remarks, allow me first of all to sincerely appreciate the government of Rwanda through the very hardworking ministers and able team at the Ministry of Youth and Arts, and also from the Ministry of Public Service and Labor for your leadership and strong partnership, your commitment and your belief in the youth of Rwanda. I would also like to take this moment to thank our very strong partner, the European Union, whose partnership and support have been instrumental in making Agoka a reality, and they've stood the course and continue to do the same. That is impressive. It's one thing to give resources, it's another for you to stand the journey each and every moment there is Agoka. And I think Agoka has become a household name for the European Union. Thank you very much. And all of this that we are doing, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, is completely aligned with NST2. Because NST2 lays emphasis on three things that are important today: job creation, private sector development, and youth entrepreneurship is central to national development here. Agoka was designed precisely for this vision in mind, supporting young entrepreneurs to do four primary things that are important: skills development, mentorship, access to finance, and market opportunities. Earlier on this morning, I had the opportunity to explain an analogy that I believe captures exactly what Agoka does. And if you picture yourself trying to scratch a match when the wind is blowing, each time you try the match, if the wind is heavy, if you don't protect that flame, if you don't protect the spark, it's not going to grow into a flame. And often what you do is you scratch the match, you have your hands around the spark, and then you make sure it flames. This is what Agoka is doing with youth.
The representative of the European Union in Rwanda said the organization is pleased to partner with Rwanda in the Aguka program, which aims to promote youth development.
The European Union is very proud to accompany the journey of the National Strategy for Transformation and the great aspirations for youth and for job creation in Rwanda. And we cannot do this better than through the Aguka program. Aguka is the shining example of partnership in action, of the power of togetherness, of getting together the government of Rwanda, UNDP, and a number of partners that has made this possible. Aguka is also a shining example of what we can deliver when we work with a high level of ambition and a sense of urgency. We were talking with Minister Abdallah before we entered the room on this journey. When we started 3 years ago, the figure of creating 100,000 jobs was scary. It was not something we thought we could achieve. And it's great to see that with that high level of ambition, we've gone beyond. So together, since 2022, we've worked to support young people in transforming ideas into enterprises. And we've worked together in bringing the youth forward. So today, the finding of this study show that those ambitions are bearing fruits. And we're going to work from evidence. So let me give you some of the evidence that this joint work has come up with. So more than 160,000 jobs have been created. So supported businesses generated over 34 billion in Rwandan francs in income. So over 10 billion Rwandan francs in net profits and over 2.25 billion in tax revenues. So for every 1 million Rwandan franc that it was invested, the program generated around 54 million in business income.
So far, the Aguka program has created nearly 130,000 jobs, and it is expected to generate close to 200,000 jobs in total. In Rwanda, the number of people entering retirement each month is increasing. Recent figures show that more than 60,000 people aged over 60 go into this stage every month. Meanwhile, experts in human sciences believe that a specific policy should be put in place by both the government and the private sector. People should be prepared early and guided on how to cope with this stage of life because a significant number of them face challenges such as loneliness, depression, poverty, and frequent illnesses. Our colleague John Gakuba spoke with one of the experts in human sciences and physical rehabilitation, John Murenzi, who provides counseling to elderly people in an association known as Sindangiza.
One needs to care for himself. No, don't think of others first, think of yourself. You are the one who can control your body and you die healthy. You see? Healthy aging, it is actually a continuum. You just need to grow thinking of your health until you get older and older and older, and then time comes and you go. But when you are healthy, so it does not start with, okay, there are some, you can avoid certain things. So far, those who have reached there, there is something that can be done. Be active. Remain active. For all the body, from top to bottom, your body needs to move. Move your body for your health. If there is any problem, consult a physiotherapist. Then, yeah, eat healthy. Yes. But if you are, you can eat even what is others can eat, but make sure you shed it. If you can shed it, then it becomes energy and you become active. There's a time when people decide to eat, thinking that it is because they are old. They start denying most of the food that they want to live longer. It's not that. Eat, but keep healthy. And it's possible because you just need to live actively. live actively, live socially, you know, think critically with your, just socialize. The government already, I thank them for having actually improved the pension scale. That's one thing. Another thing, all these institutions, government institutions and parastatal institutions, they just need to prepare their workers for that retirement. One needs to grow, and that's when you can actually think of going even earlier, at 60. So we should actually be anxious to reach the retirement time and then go and do other things.
Happily.
Yes, you live happy, in fact. But does not mean that you want to compete with your young age when you are in the old stage by working very hard. That one, you are spoiling your body. You are actually, you may end up getting problems which you may regret. So just try to move. Yes, to your pace. Yeah, and die happy. Yes?
And on that note, we've come to the end of tonight's English Bulletin. On behalf of the news production team and the technical team, thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Avera, and until next time, stay safe, have a good night.